episode is brought by contributions from viewers like you. Thank you!
Hello everyone and welcome back to a new episode of Velociraptor Writes. Alright guys, so I'm about to go on vacation to Washington DC with my wife. We're gonna have a good time. I'm going to visit the Smithsonian, see the cool dinosaurs, and go to the zoo, you know, see all the cool animal stuff, paleontology stuff, the history stuff, because remember I am a history teacher also. And last time I went I was like 3 and can't remember anything about it, so it'll be fun to go again. Before I go on vacation though, I did want to leave you with some content because I have been working on some more long form content like an accuracy review for Prehistoric Planet 2, but that will take a while to drop. So I wanted to give you something pretty quick, easy to throw out, but also something pretty interesting. I wanted to do this one for a while now. I saw this recommendation in YouTube and figured it would be a good thing to react to. When did this come out? 2 years ago. Okay, so this video is 2 years old. It's from WatchMojo. Top 20 Scientific Inaccuracies in Jurassic Park. Now, WatchMojo, you may have heard of them. You might have seen them before. Sure, they have some controversial takes, but they're usually like a top 10 best or top 10 worst. Often in entertainment, like movies, video games, pop culture, stuff like that. So I think it'd be interesting to see how they tackle scientific accuracy in media. I've watched them a couple times. I've enjoyed their videos, so I'm not really like a hater here. If you do hate them, please sure to tell me why in the comments below. So without further delay, I'm going to play the video and let's see what they say. Will they give good points? Will they be inaccurate themselves? Who knows? I don't know.
Bigger. Why do they always have to go bigger?
Welcome to.
I'm going to have to be super annoying also and pause it a lot because copyright reasons. Although, can they copyright me if they're using footage from another movie? Can they copyright me for commenting on their commentary of other movies? Or will Universal just do that? But then if Universal's gonna copyright me, then why don't they copyright this video? I don't know. But okay, this narration's by Rebecca, and I can't believe the minion's been 2 years old already.
Today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 scientific inaccuracies in Jurassic Park.
But you didn't ask for reality.
Okay.
You asked for more teeth.
I never asked for a monster.
Oh man, that quote. Oh, someone's definitely gonna drop the Dr. Wu quote in the comments. There's always that one person. No, they weren't trying to create inaccurate scientific monsters just to appeal to the broader base. At least not in the original Jurassic Parks. They were trying their best, and we can tell from the movies that they got pretty darn accurate. So these aren't just random combinations thrown together of creatures and they call it Velociraptor. No, this is mostly what Velociraptor would have been like in universe, but I have a whole video on that, so go and watch that. Don't be that guy who leaves it in the comments, because I have addressed that already.
Aspects about dinosaurs from this mega franchise that are not in keeping with what we know today. For the record, we're not saying the movies are any worse for fudging the details. Heck, the first movie is an absolute classic, and some of these discoveries weren't made until after its release. But it is cool to know just what these dinos were really like.
I think that's a very good and a very mature point to make here. They can obviously like, oh, dunk on Jurassic Park. Yeah, they got this wrong. It sucks. No, I try not to do that, and I'm glad they don't do that either. Because, yes, everything they said was a good point to make. Just because it's inaccurate doesn't mean it's a less good movie. Jaws is very inaccurate when it comes to sharks. Or, pretty inaccurate, yeah. But it's still my favorite movie and one of the best movies ever made. And Jurassic Park is one of my favorites, too. Still be a great movie without being scientifically accurate.
What's your favorite dinosaur? Roar about it in the comments.
Ceratosaurus.
Number 20. Stygimoloch breaking down barriers.
Interesting.
World,
Interesting.
Fallen Kingdom.
Look who just woke up.
Okay, can it punch through a brick wall? Okay, probably not.
Second half of Jurassic World Fallen
Okay.
Kingdom. Owen and Claire are put in a cell used to hold dinosaurs.
I don't hate that scene. I don't really... people hate on Fallen Kingdom, say it's the worst one. It's goofy. It's so bad, it's enjoyable for me at points. So I honestly dislike the other two Jurassic Worlds more. Because this one was really so bad that it was funny.
Fortunately for them, there's a Stygimoloch next door with a domed skull primed for headbutting. Owen's able to goad the creature into breaking through the brick barrier, followed by the cage door.
Pretty interesting.
But evidence suggests its skull wouldn't be strong enough to do that, especially with the former obstacle. Furthermore,
well, I don't know. Strong enough to ram into other Pachycephalosaurs? Sure. Strong enough to bust a brick wall? I guess maybe not. Maybe that's a valid point.
technical advisor and paleontologist Jack Horner has asserted that Stygimolochs didn't exist and were rather juvenile versions of the Pachycephalosaurus. There's additionally been much speculation as to how bluntly Pachycephalosaurus used their skulls.
See that distinctive dome skull?
Actually, I just did a whole paleo myth on this, and it turned out to be a very good paleo myth. My first perfection, that at least an adult Pachycephalosaurus could do some kind of headbutting here. As for juvenile or teenage, those partially domed skulls seem to have less damage than the adult ones, or the fully domed ones, but they still had some damage on them. But now we're talking about a brick wall and metal bars here, so I don't know how that applies to that. So, alright. Pretty good overall, and yeah, I did agree mostly that Stygimoloch was probably some younger version of Pachycephalosaurus. Some speculate it's a different species, but that's not published yet, so can't really talk much about that. I don't know what their conclusions are or how they got there.
9 inches of solid bone.
Number 19, Baryonyx Snout and Lava, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom.
Yeah.
When Claire and Franklin
Yeah.
are trapped in an underground
I
control
hate the
center
scene.
during a volcanic eruption, the latter fears the approaching dinosaur is the T-Rex.
Man, I miss the old movies. This is... It feels like every blockbuster is becoming like a Marvel-y type humor kind of movie, and that kind of action-packed, balls to the walls sort of feeling. I miss the old tension and suspense of the
While the
originals.
Baryonyx that emerges is scary in its own right, it probably should have been a little less so. Namely, rather than having the crippling snout of an alligator, the real dinosaurs was more akin to that of a gharials of the Crocodilia order. Plus, the lava it touches probably would have melted its scales.
Right, this is a big problem in a lot of movies. Well, you know, it's a movie, it doesn't have to be perfect. But you'll have characters like right next to lava, or they're on right hovering right above the lava. Here it touches the lava. Lava pours on its head. Even if you get like within 10 feet, 3 meters of lava, you are going to light on fire and die. It will melt you. Okay? Revenge of the Sith is the only movie I've seen that got this right.
Which would have done a lot more than just phase it.
Yeah, no, it's
Thankfully
dead.
for Franklin, though, the real deal probably would have had greater success with a thinner snout in biting him to pieces in that tube.
Do they show what the dinner snout actually looked like?
Number 8.
Okay, no, but that scene just comes across as so juvenile. Like, it's not tension, it's just dinosaur at the screen coming at you. Oh no! Ugh, it's no tension, no build, no. They try to build it up a little with the lava and its silhouette, but it's just dinosaurs at the screen mostly. Stop ranting about the movie. Yeah, they don't show what it looks like, so I'll show you. Okay, and yeah, they had a beautiful design on the Jurassic World website, and they just chose not to use it and go with an uglier design that maybe they thought looked more menacing, but it just looks more generic. Like, if they go with the actual designs for these movies, or, you know, for some of the creatures, the actual designs, well, designs by God or by nature, you know, how they actually look better than what they come up with for the movie. Baryonyx is a good example of that.
Compsognathus as a pack hunter. The Lost World, Jurassic Park.
Mommy! Daddy, you've got to come see this! I found something!
I love the puppetry here. The Compsognathus puppets are just amazing, amazing. Here it's CGI, of course.
Whereas most dinosaurs in Jurassic Park are intimidating because of their large sizes and massive teeth, Compsognathus, more commonly called compies, present an alternative danger. Specifically,
I'm weird. I say Compsognathus. I don't know. It just rolls off the tongue better than Compsognathus. Compsognathus. Maybe I'm crazy.
they team up in large groups to overwhelm their larger prey. However, real-life evidence shows this wasn't the case whatsoever. Astoundingly, compies are one of the few dinosaurs whose diets are unequivocally known, as lizard remains have been found within there.
That's a very good point. You know, I didn't really think about that, but that's a very good point. That we do have lizards in the stomach cavity of Compsognathus, so we know that they were hunting smaller prey rather than teaming up with others to attack larger prey. Or at least more often than not. You know, and most dinosaurs probably weren't pack hunting either, like how most predators today don't pack hunt.
This leads to the conclusion that they preyed on smaller animals, giving them little reason to form a pack. That isn't to say, though, that we're not satisfied when they give the sadistic Dieter Stark his comeuppance.
Yeah, it's still a great scene. A fantastically gruesome scene, but still inaccurate. Or, you know, probably not accurate.
Number 17, Stegosaurus exaggerations.
Oh yeah, the Stegosaurus is
Jurassic Park
huge.
franchise.
And this
For anyone
movie.
who grew up loving dinosaurs, the Stegosaurus was an absolute staple.
It
of
has
action
some
figure
very
collections.
big brow
We're
ridges.
not one to disagree with their coolness, but Jurassic Park definitely had a hand in beefing them up a little. In The Lost World, the adult Stegosauruses featured appear to be around 40 feet in length, a good 10 feet greater than even the most generous estimates.
Yikes.
Yeah, so back in the day, you'll see us also with the Welcome to Dinosaurs one. They had a very dummy, thick Stegosaurus with like really tall, huge hips. And here they make it even bigger.
In the Jurassic World movies, they're depicted as resting their tails just above the ground
Oh,
rather than
yeah,
in the
tell me
air.
about it.
They're also depicted as running at high speeds.
Why are they boring and gray and just so elephantine when in the Lost World they're like green and beige? It looked interesting and the tails are higher. Why did they have to make the dinosaurs look worse?
From a volcano blast, which would have been impossible due to their hind legs being considerably longer than their front. Not that we're saying we'd rather watch the lava catch up with them.
Beautiful. You're gonna feel that when you wake up.
It's such a weird character.
Number 16,
why?
Carnotaurus survival instincts.
Oh my
Jurassic
gosh.
World Fallen Kingdom.
Honestly, I would put this less as like an accuracy thing and more just like a this movie can't help itself kind of thing. Like it just needs to just be balls to the walls and dumb action in your face all the time because that's what the kids like.
Speaking of lava, that probably should have been the first thing on the Carnotaurus' mind in this scene. But hey,
Dead.
dramatic tension,
Dead.
you got a dramatic tension.
He should be
As
melted
every
by
other
then.
dinosaur in the stampede is smartly heading for the hills. The protagonists get an added scare when a Carnotaurus comes within its crosshairs. More interested in hunting than surviving, apparently.
It's also too
The
big.
Carnotaurus goes
It's much
after
tue
a
big.
Sinoceratops before setting its sight on the
So it's a
human.
Sinoceratops, much too
While its
big.
design was praised by paleontologists like Scott Persons, there's nothing to suggest it would have been so malicious as to disregard its own safety. Ah well, leave it to good old Rexy to set things right.
Like, but why are you sneaking up on this Carnotaurus just to stand on it and roar in the middle of a giant volcanic eruption? Like, you have accomplished nothing except increasing your chances of death. This scene makes no
Number
sense.
15. T-Rexes weren't fast. The
I got him in an inaccuracy. Okay. It's not T-Rex. That's like a pop culture incorrect sort of thing. It should be T, well, capital T, period, space, lowercase, Rex. That's how you would do it scientifically. T-Rexes? I don't know. I'd just say T-Rex or plural.
Jurassic Park franchise.
Doesn't matter, I guess. But I got him on one thing.
Rexy, one of the original movie's best scenes wouldn't have been nearly as exciting had she been scientifically accurate. After Dr. Sattler and game warden Robert Muldoon rescue Dr. Malcolm, they're pursued in their Jeep by the franchise's flagship Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Who doesn't need to keep appearing as like her own character, her own person. Like, yes, it's good to give the dinosaurs personality, like they feel different from one another, but not making dinosaur protagonists like Rexy. Oh yeah, we need Rexy to win and beat the villain. Like, oh, come on, guys.
It makes for a thrilling sequence.
You don't need to keep bringing back
In
Rexy.
actuality, it would have ended a lot sooner because the T-Rex wouldn't have been able to keep up. Back in 1993, prevailing wisdom was that T-Rexes could indeed reach speeds of up to 40 miles per hour. But since then,
Probably not. Those
estimates
things are
have
huge.
dropped down to around a measly 15. But in fairness to the T-Rex, there weren't any Jeeps to contend with back then. Number 14.
Okay, that's a good point. You don't have to be a speed demon just so people 66 million years later can say that you're so cool for being fast. You just have to be fast enough to hunt the food available in your ecosystem. Right? So that's a good point. And also, there are different estimates as to how fast it went. Though I do recognize, was that a 2017 paper on 15 miles an hour? And if it ran faster than that, it might break its bones. Interesting. Other studies come with different estimates, but interesting. And yeah, definitely not as fast as a Jeep.
Digging up a complete skeleton is not that easy. Jurassic Park.
Right.
Jurassic Park undeniably inspired a lot of kids to grow up and be paleontologists, and nothing can take that away from it. Still, we're sure a lot of those kids learned pretty quickly that fieldwork isn't nearly as straightforward as one of the opening scenes makes it look. Let's say for a moment that a crew
Right, they find
an
this perfectly preserved skeleton. That rarely ever happens, that you get all the bones, or what used to be bone, really, in a skeleton. So, yeah, that you might find scraps. That's usually what they find. If you're lucky, you find a good skeleton. Probably not a complete one.
intact skeleton like the Deinonychus it's digging up here.
Look, they get it so easy.
So well
Look at
preserved
that.
underneath such a thin layer of sand.
They're just going at it.
Slim. To that
So
extent,
fast.
The way they go about it with little more than brushes and a little nose picking is optimistic to say the least. Oh, and that radar device they use, not quite as accurate as real life.
Look at the extra. What'd you do?
He touched it. Dr. Grant's not machine got him.
Got it in for me.
Number 13. The Triceratops droppings are way too.
I mean, okay, these are kind of less paleontology and more, I don't know, like the droppings being too big. Okay, yeah, but does that really have to do with the animal itself?
Big. Jurassic Park.
Dino. Dropping?
The first Jurassic Park does a great job of stoking fascination in even the grimier parts
They
of
don't talk
Dino
about
life.
really the
One
epicypitals
scene
here. Adults didn't really have this. This might be a subadult Triceratops, but you would see them start to flatten into the skull, get more rounded out. This is more of a juvenile.
The tour group take a detour to tend to a sick Triceratops.
They do have a good
Find
skin
that the gal
texture, where
keeps
it's
getting sick
lumpy
every
and
time she eats
bumpy,
West
like
Indian
pebbly,
live
but then it has these
Dr.
bigger
Sadler
bumps in
then
it.
goes rooting around in her droppings for evidence of the plant, and what a mound it is.
That is one big pile.
Okay, that's like
Not only does it
Argentinosaurus
not
sized.
overpower the team with its stench, but it would make for the largest dinosaur droppings on record by several feet. Some have theorized it's the work of multiple Triceratops, but there's little evidence to suggest the creature had anything to do with big herds, let alone big turds.
I think this video just came out 2 years ago. I think there was a couple of Triceratops found in the same locality. So that might be a herd. Might be a Triceratops herd. Yeah, and would they do a group pooping where they all stack their poop on top of each other? Probably not. Alright, that's a good point.
You will remember to wash your hands before you eat anything.
Number 12. Tyrannosaurus Rex Roar. The
Okay,
Jurassic Park
alright.
franchise.
It's true.
What
These are pretty
would
good
the
ones.
Jurassic Park franchise be without the iconic Tyrannosaurus Rex roar? Well, weirder according to science.
Boy, do I hate being right all the time.
Today, what's commonly conceived to be a roar largely comes from carnivorous mammals like lions. However, seeing as dinosaurs' closest living relatives are birds and crocodiles, it's extremely unlikely that any of them, even one as big as a T-Rex,
Well, you wouldn't say that birds are the relatives of dinosaurs. They are the descendants of dinosaurs. I guess they are related, but in that they are the descendants, not like a croc that's distantly related. Yeah, so the roar comes from mammal sounds like elephant, lion. I think they throw alligator in there. So mammals have different vocal organs that were not present, or at least we don't find them in dinosaurs. I think there was a larynx found in, oh gosh, what ankylosaur was it? Tarkia or something? I think it was Pinacosaurus. But probably didn't sound like a mammal roar or mammal screech.
Would have roared the way it does in the movies. Rather, the big beasts would have made sounds of the closed-mouth variety like coos and deep-throated thrumming.
Right.
So next time you see old Rexy roar, think of a really big emu.
Oh, the emus are still intense.
Number 11. Where did the extinct plants come from? Jurassic Park.
I actually was thinking about this. I was just going about my day doing the dishes, and I was like, wait, how did they get plants from the Cretaceous? Okay.
Dinosaurs go through a lot of food.
Again, just look at all that Triceratops poop. However those mounds came into being in the canon of the movies, we can say with...
and we know this because there was a scene that was in the theater, in the theatrical release, that's been like a deleted scene where Dr. Sattler grabs a leaf from a tree, but then you see her later in all versions where she's looking at the leaf and saying it's been extinct since, did she say, the Cretaceous period? So, how did they get them? There must have been some other way that we don't really need an explanation on screen. Would it have made a better movie for them to explain where we got the extinct plants? Probably wouldn't have helped the movie, alright? It's there. They probably figured out a way. I don't really need to know.
With certainty, she eats her vegetables.
So what exactly is Triceratops' breakfast in Jurassic Park? According to the expert, paleobotanist Ellie Sattler, Hammond has somehow managed to resurrect extinct plants.
Alan, this species
oh, yeah, there it is. And, there it is.
Cretaceous period. I mean, this thing is about this thing. What?
But how? Sure, scientists have regenerated plants from seeds encased in ice 32,000 years ago. But we're talking about 66 million years.
I like that they say 66 million years, not the 65 million years.
Some explanation would be nice.
Well, the question is, how can you know anything about an extinct ecosystem?
Number 10. Most of the dinosaurs aren't from the Jurassic period.
Okay, I mean, this is a fun nitpick. Who made like a little cartoon on this back in the day? It's a nitpick. It's the name of the place, alright? It's the name of the place. It's a cool name, Jurassic Park, and there are some Jurassic dinosaurs in there. Like, come on. Come on. Am I gonna go to Six Flags and complain that if I count all the flags in the park, there are gonna be more than 6? No.
Period. The Jurassic Park franchise.
Try to imagine yourself in the Cretaceous period.
What's in a name? Dinosaurs dominated the Earth during the Triassic,
Right,
Jurassic,
Brachiosaurus and
periods,
Dilophosaurus.
all part of the Mesozoic.
They didn't really... Oh, sorry. They didn't really dominate during the Triassic. They were beginning to come and to evolve during the Triassic. And they start developing, forming, spreading out in the Triassic. By the Jurassic is really when they've dominated the planet. Like early and mid-Jurassic.
Almost all of the stars of Jurassic Park are actually from the Cretaceous, including
True,
the T-Rex,
true.
Velociraptor, Triceratops, and Pteranodons. Mind you, there are some exceptions, like the Brachiosaurus, Dilophosaurus, and Stegosaurus.
And Compsognathus.
Lived during the Jurassic period.
I'm a good jerk.
Of course, Mesozoic Park doesn't have quite the same ring, so we get it. But damn it, Hammond, we're still gonna blame you on this one.
Welcome to Jurassic
And pastoral offices in this movie. You see it in the background of this scene.
Number 9. Dilophosaurus was bigger and didn't have a neck frill. Jurassic Park.
Nice boy.
Okay, this is one of those ones that anyone will tell you about. Any 5-year-old back in the day who liked Jurassic Park would have told you about this one. I think everyone who moderately... Hi, Indiana. Everyone who moderately decently cares about dinosaurs knows this. That's the whole number of fingers too. Shouldn't it have a fourth finger? Small fourth one?
Jurassic Park
Or going
with a greater
crazy.
sense of karmic justice and horror movie timing than the Dilophosaurus? Indeed, we love seeing it dispatch of the greedy Dennis Nedry, but it remains one of the most
That's a little
scientifically
too
inaccurate
blunt
portrayals
also.
in the whole series. For starters, the creatures likely didn't have that neck frill that made every one of us shudder. Second,
You say likely didn't. They definitely didn't. They definitely didn't have that.
venom spitting ability is a complete fabrication, nor would any dinosaurs be likely to do that. But perhaps most egregious of all is the fact that the thing was at least twice the size of the one depicted, meaning it couldn't climb into the front seat of Nedry's Jeep and give him that last jump scare.
Now, I get it for filmmaking purposes. Spielberg didn't want to confuse with the Velociraptor, because you would see something about a similar size, though one has a giant frill and a crest, but I get it. And also, I have heard the explanation that this is a juvenile. I don't know how well that holds up. In Jurassic World, the hologram's kind of bigger. It's like Velociraptor size, but still not quite what we think of Dilophosaurus. And I don't remember, in Dominion, I think it was still a similar size. So what's the coincidence that all the Dilophosaurus we run into are juveniles? But I get it. It sounds like it kind of makes sense that it's young. Well, let me know what you think in the comments.
Number 8. Pteranodons couldn't lift people.
Yep.
The Jurassic Park franchise.
Yeah, alright, saw that one coming.
The Jurassic Park franchise is full of iconic death scenes, but there was one in Jurassic World that particularly stood out.
That camera work with like the zoom-ins, and it just feels so Sharknado-y. The scene is such a Sharknado whip-off wannabe.
The drawn-out death of Claire's personal assistant Zara came out of nowhere and marked
It
a
did.
strange tonal shift.
It did. Oh, it's buffing for me. Alright, the Wi-Fi's pretty weak right now. I'm going to, I just had a tropical storm yesterday hit here in New York. Yeah, no, I totally agree with WatchMojo on that. Like, there's this character who really does nothing in the movie. She's just there, and we give her this completely brutal death, prolonged death for no reason. Other than, hey, look, action, dinosaur action on screen. Wow, isn't that crazy? With the cinematography of a Sharknado movie. Yeah, it's not a good look. But yes, Pteranodons and other pterosaurs had they had flat feet. They were, we'd say, plantigrade like us, where we walk on our heels, not digitigrade like dinosaurs. And your dog, Indiana, hi baby. And their claws, their toes weren't good. They couldn't like grip things. They weren't like hawks or eagles in that sense.
The devil is also in the paleontological details. First off, pteranodons were probably fuzzy rather than scaly.
True.
Coats
Good
of hair
point.
like
Good
filaments.
point.
Second, pteranodons didn't have the grasping foot structure or muscles required to lift a human, nor the strength
Also
and
very true.
wingspan.
Is the Mosasaurus being too
Number
large?
7,
Next one.
T-Rex's
Oh no.
motion
Okay.
vision.
All right. That's
Jurassic Park franchise.
a pretty important one. All right. I see that.
Keep absolutely
Still has T-Rex wrong.
Decisions based on movement.
As every fan knows, it's important to have a Velociraptor home escape plan, just in case. When it comes to T-Rex, though, you might think elaborate preparations aren't required. Just don't move.
Yeah, no, you're gonna get munched on like immediately. Even if you run though, I'm sure T-Rex can outrun most people, especially most Americans, if you know what I'm saying. Alright, so your options are non-existent. No, they will find you and they will kill you. Some of the best eyesight, scent, hearing in the animal kingdom. So if it wants to find you, it will find you and it will kill you.
Can't see us if we don't move.
Unfortunately, the idea that Tyrannosaurs could only detect motion is pretty far-fetched. In the book, it's the result of mixing in frog DNA, but in the movie, it's just a T-Rex fact.
No, actually, no. In the book, it is not about mixing in the frog DNA, because as I pointed out in my video on the whole frog subject debate, the T-Rex in the book did not have the frog DNA in it. Though, I'll give them credit. Other dinosaurs that did have the frog DNA had vision based on movement. But not the T-Rex. Not the T-Rex.
And you keep still because you think that maybe his visual acuity is based on movement, like T-Rex, and he'll lose you if you don't move. But no, not Velociraptor.
Dang, Dr. Grant knew that before ever hearing of a Jurassic Park or seeing the T-Rex. It's almost like they got the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park pretty correct. Don't you think?
A study from Professor Kent Stevens of the University of Oregon mapped the dinosaurs' visual capabilities, concluding T-Rex probably had more binocular range than a hawk.
Yeah, this picture doesn't really show the actual skull with good binocular vision. Yeah, amazing vision.
Better visual clarity than an eagle. It also had a great sense of smell, so maybe do move.
Must go faster.
Number 6. Everything about the Brachiosaurus.
Okay, let's see. Everything about Brachiosaurus. Let's see.
We got our first good look at dinosaurs in Jurassic Park.
Okay.
Ooh, that's
but what about the
starts.
Brachiosaurus scenes?
But then later there's running and screaming.
Even rewatching the movie today, the majestic Brachiosaurus is striking. But according to Professor Brett Bennington of Hofstra University,
that's definitely chewing like a cow. Sauropods and a lot of herbivorous dinosaurs could not actually chew, grind their teeth together. So they would have been better at snipping and grabbing and pulling rather than crunching and munching. So they would snip the leaves and the branches and then just swallow it whole.
These ponderous colossi were too front-heavy to rear back and support their weight on their hind legs. A feat which also doesn't seem to get them any higher. They're eating
That's an interesting point.
Toxins poisonous to most animals. And as cute as it is, the Brachiosaurus didn't chew like a cow from side to side. And
see, hadrosaurs can do that, and some iguanodontians can do that. Had a version of this, but not sauropods. No, sauropods cannot do this. And the nostril is too high. And it's Giraffatitan, of course. I don't know if they'll mention that.
Number 5.
Oh no, okay, they didn't mention that. So, alright. The standing thing is interesting. I probably agree. I've seen the Plotikids do it in documentaries, but I don't know. Brachiosaurus and Brachiosaurids being so front heavy with longer arms than legs. I don't know if they can do that. It seems unlikely, but maybe. And they didn't even mention that, it's Giraffatitan. The model is based off of the relative Giraffatitan from Africa, because we had more material of that than of the American Brachiosaurus, and we thought they were both Brachiosaurus at the time. So why not just base it off the other Brachiosaurus that we know more about? But now it's a separate genus, so it's not really Brachiosaurus anymore.
Spinosaurus versus
Oh
T-Rex.
no, alright, here we go. Oh, I like that T-Rex model, though. I like the JP3 T-Rex design.
T-Rex is the king of the dinosaurs, right?
It's cool.
One of the most controversial moves in the franchise was having the Spinosaurus defeat the park's most iconic star. In real life, Spinosaurs and Tyrannosaurs lived in different places and times.
Okay, come on. Yeah, that's true. Alright, we know that. And it's Jurassic Park, so they're a mishmash of dinosaurs from all over the place.
Would have won in a real fight. Spinosaurus was larger, and debate continues whether T-Rex was really an apex predator or a scavenger.
Okay, debate does not continue. The debate is just people dunking on Jack Horner and making fun of him for a stupid idea. And why are you showing the 2014 quadrupedal Spinosaurus? This was only 2 years ago. It's 2022 when this came out. No, we knew that this was wrong back then. Stop it. Get some help.
But Spinosaurus's elongated crocodilian jaws, conical teeth, and raised nostrils suggest it was adapted for catching fish. It's tough to know who would win in a real fight, but given those long, narrow jaws, the idea that Spinosaurus could have crushed and broken Tyrannosaurus's thick, muscular neck is pretty unlikely.
Okay, to be fair to the movie, it grabbed its neck with its snout, and it twisted the head. And that's what snapped its neck. It didn't come and crush the neck like a T-Rex would to an animal. Which a T-Rex should have done to the Spinosaurus, alright? The T-Rex grabbed the Spino's neck at the beginning, slammed it to the ground. That's it. That's all you need. The T-Rex won. But, in terms of who would actually win, let's say, If the Spinosaurus is under 15 meters, I'll give it the T-Rex. If it's over 15 meters, I'll just say Spinosaurus is very big. I don't know if T-Rex wants to fight that. But, I mean, what's the point? Again, you don't have to evolve to be cool for the movies. You just have to be good at your niche, right? You just have to be good enough to survive in your environment, your ecosystem. Dinosaurs, like 95 million years ago, like Spinosaurus, weren't thinking, you know, if I had longer legs and I could fight off T-Rex, I might be cool enough for the movies. No one was thinking that. All right, continue.
Number 4, the Mosasaurus, Jurassic World.
So just the Mosasaurus. Okay.
When Jurassic World hit screens, paleontologists had mixed reactions to the Mosasaurus. The back frill was
fine.
And there's a good chance Mosasaurus had forked tongues. On the other hand, the scale was all wrong. An infographic in the park lists the Mosasaurus as 55 feet long, about the same as the largest fossil ever found.
That's a bit exaggerated. I don't know. How big did Mosasaurus get?
But the Mosasaurus we actually see is enormous. In an interview, digital creature model supervisor Jeff Campbell admitted he was scaled up to take on Indominus Rex. And we presume for reasons of awesomeness.
I mean, I think even at the actual size of Mosasaurus, it still could have done its role in the movie. It didn't need to be gargantuanly sized. Though maybe to get that great white shot where it eats a great white. That was a great white, right? The shark that dangles over. Also, where are they getting these sharks from? Are these like dummy sharks that they make and fill with meat or something? Because that's what I'm hoping. I hope they're not actually catching sharks out of the ocean and putting them in the Mosasaurus exhibit just for the spectacle of it. Because that would be horrible. Anyways.
Number 3, real dinos have feathers.
Okay, that's a pretty obvious one.
Franchise.
I don't know if they're doing this in order of like biggest inaccuracies or if they're just listing off 20. It's top 20, so I guess the top 1 should be the biggest inaccuracy. But yeah, feathers for sure. But I'm curious, will they show what they actually look like?
We've learned a lot about dinosaurs since the original Jurassic Park. The main grumble from paleontologists when Jurassic World came out was that the dinosaurs were still stuck in the 90s. It is useful for continuity, and there's always the frog DNA excuse to fall back on.
No, don't fall back on that one. It's not good. It's not a good excuse.
On the tour, the film said they used frog DNA to fill in the gene sequence gaps.
But for the record, we know now that a lot of dinosaurs had
Okay.
feathers, rather than
Dinosaur
having
Planet. Alright. But the dinosaurs, well, the Velociraptor, they should have like fully formed wings. Dinosaur Planet, I think this was the first one to actually show the dinosaurs with feathers. I'm going crazy. Was that someone else? So it's not perfect here. Like they kind of have some down feathers on the body, I think, and the arms aren't fully winged. They don't go all the way down to the tip of the second finger. So it should be a little more than this. But still, alright, if you're going to pick Dinosaur Planet, I'm not going to yell at you. I'm not going to be mad at you. Alright. And the article showed that Tyrannosaurus would have been feathered. I talk about this a lot, and I'm going to talk about this in my Prehistoric Planet 2 analysis. T-Rex. I like how they portrayed it in Prehistoric Planet with some light, very light fuzz, because they didn't need feathers. And from the close relatives we have, they're only skin impressions. Yes, there's Tyrannosaurus, which is more distantly related, but yeah, probably not. At least not to the same extent with T-Rex.
Some dinosaurs strutted their stuff in rich plumage, in colors that ranged from muted earthy tones to fabulous shades of red, orange, and iridescent black. Velociraptor and Gallimimus were probably pretty fluffy, and even T-Rex might have sported some luxurious fluff.
Okay, I say might have, but probably like a fuzz, really.
Number 2, liquid blood preserved in amber.
Okay, maybe a little far-fetched. It's been a very long time. Okay, but in the film's defense, obviously, this is going to be inaccurate. If there was a good way to get dinosaur DNA and clone dinosaurs, we would have done it by now. So obviously they have to make up something fantastical and silly and inaccurate because it's impossible. So I don't know what you're expecting
It sounds
here.
good in theory. Mine ancient amber, extract DNA from mosquitoes, and presto.
We're gonna make a fortune with this place.
Dinosaurs, adventure, running, screaming, chaos, and then back to the start again.
Sadly, even skipping over the fact that the mosquito species shown doesn't suck blood, and amber from the Dominican
that's
Republic
interesting.
doesn't date back to dinosaur times, there's
Okay.
a pretty big glitch. DNA degrades over
Some
time,
cool stuff,
and the
but yeah.
gaps can't just be stuffed from some other random animal. The idea that blood would survive that long in fluid form is even more improbable. In real life, the dinosaur DNA would be all mixed up with the mosquitoes. It makes for great science fiction, but don't hold your breath for that pet Triceratops.
Okay, that is a very creative way to do it, though, that Michael Crichton wrote. I don't know if I would have been creative enough to think of that. That, yeah, mosquitoes suck blood, so if you find ancient mosquitoes, you'll find the ancient DNA. But also, you have to think, the mosquito's not just sucking blood from one animal, they're going from creature to creature, so you'll get a hodgepodge of different blood in the body of the mosquito. That might mess up your results a bit.
Triceratops.
Where do you get 100 million year old dinosaur blood?
Well, I guess not. If you find a single cell, then there's going to be one type of DNA in the cell. Okay, maybe. So maybe you can get multiple dinosaur DNAs from one mosquito. It's even better. Alright.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our
Alright,
channel.
yeah. Alright, so this is number one. What do they put as the... Okay, Velociraptors.
Number 1.
That's the number one? Well, I don't know if it's most inaccurate or something, but... Alright, again, that's the number one. It's pretty low-hanging fruit there, but okay.
Velociraptors were the size of turkeys. The Jurassic Park franchise.
Turkeys are still... I wouldn't mess with a turkey.
The Velociraptors
Not
in
willingly.
Jurassic Park are super intelligent murder machines. And what's worse,
Hey,
they're
that's
old
not
enough
an
to open
accuracy
kitchen
here.
doors. But real Velociraptors were much smaller and probably had feathers. Basically, just really angry chickens.
Turkey, huh?
When author Michael Crichton wrote the 1990 novel Jurassic Park, he actually based the raptors on their larger cousin Deinonychus.
Very true.
Didn't think the name...
Some people... I find this online all the time. It's misinformation. Some people think that it's based on Utahraptor. No, Utahraptor wasn't found until production of the movie, I believe, or pre-production. So the book was already written. And we already had Velociraptors that were this size. And Utahraptor then wasn't described until just after the movie had been released. So it's based on Deinonychus, guys.
sounded cool enough. Actual Velociraptors also didn't have pronated wrists. Their palms faced each other rather than downward.
Well, this is true of pretty much any dinosaur, except maybe like the really, the quadrupedal ones, like Mosasaurus, the Hadrosaurs, been used to being bipedal for a long time.
On the bright side,
Quadrupedal for a long time.
A lot harder for them to open doors. Although, you know what they say.
Life, finds a way.
And that's a good place to end it. Dr. Malcolm's Life Finds a Way. Yeah, so for this video, I'm pretty impressed. It's pretty good, especially if there's someone who doesn't like WatchMojo. I don't know. They should do entertainment, so for them to tackle science and scientific accuracy, I think it was a decent list of things. Some of it was pretty low-hanging fruit, and others are just kind of like, like the Triceratops poop. I mean, alright, whatever. Though there's some good information in there. A lot of scientifically accurate information in there. Though, are these the top 20 scientific inaccuracies? Can I think of any more that are more egregious? I mean, there's the Triceratops frill. They didn't mention that Brachiosaurus is now considered giraffe titan. And you could have had, like, the wrists, the teeth sticking out. There were other things you could have done, but it was a pretty solid list overall. Let's see, it's got 344,000 views. Okay, I hope that's 344,000 people who now know more about paleontology and about dinosaurs. And going back to what they said in the beginning, none of these make Jurassic Park or Jurassic World any less good of movies. Though, if you're gonna be inaccurate to make the movie better and more interesting. Don't make it inaccurate to look uglier and boring. Alright? So if you enjoyed this episode, please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and to check out my social media. See you next time.